Hi, I'm Chiquita Russaw. We're going to go over 10 quick steps of how to start your nonprofit. The very first step is identifying the problem. Who do you want to help? How do you want to help them? That's when you come in and create your solution. You're going to find a target audience. If you're going to be creating or serving the unhoused, making sure you know what area you want to serve. Working on finding out who's going to be your board members. Your board members in this is going to be, oh my God, so important. Having a good board, having somebody who's as passionate as you are about your ideas is what's going to get you to the next level when you're starting your nonprofit. Your next step is once you get those people, y'all are going to sit down and have a brainstorming session. This is when you're going to be designing your actual program. You're going to create the programs of what you want to do with the unhoused, how you want to help them, what community you want to help, what partners you need, and most importantly, how are you going to help them with funding. You want to develop that plan. Your plan is very important. You need a business plan when you're doing a nonprofit. Yes, creating a nonprofit is for the public and having a business is for you, but you need a business plan in order to create that actual application as well as let the community know what you're going to do for the nonprofit. Once you solidify your board, you're going to go through the process of picking a person who's going to be your compliance director. That person will make sure that they register your board. You're going to find a unique name or something that's meaningful where it's good for you, it's good for the community, and it sticks out. Once you register first with the state, a lot of people go and get their EIN number. Wait until the state say that name is available, because what you don't want to do is get an EIN number and that name isn't available and you have to change it over. Once you get your EIN number, after the state verify you, we will move to the next step of starting off your 1023 application. Your 1023 application is the actual nonprofit application. What does it look like? How much money do you plan on raising? Because that's key when you're doing your nonprofit application. You have two forms. It's the 1023 EZ, and that's for people whose organization is going to raise $50,000 or less. And a lot of people want to do it because the time frame is a lot shorter, and of course it's $250. But within 5 years, if your organization raises over $50K, you have to pay the government $600 to do the long form. The long form it's long. It's about 40 pages. But it's worth it. That's why your business plan and your programming comes to play. And that application is $600. It takes that application somewhere between 6 to 9 months to process, but there is a way that you can expedite that. You can expedite that by sending in a fax. And we can go over that and give you some examples a little bit later. While your application is processing, a lot of people don't know this. IRS checks everything, and as they're checking and they're waiting to process your application, it's good to go ahead and start getting out in the community. The reason you need to be in the community is because when they start working on your application, they see you. They can process you a lot quicker if you're visible. So visibility is another thing we'll speak about a little bit later in running or operating your nonprofit. Once you do that and you get your approval, the work has just begun. So now that your application has been approved for the IRS, you should receive a letter in the mail. That's your determination letter. Everybody needs to make sure you keep up with that determination letter. You can also get a copy of it on irs.gov. But when the real work begins is when that determination letter is mailed to your home. Now, the same plan that you created with your board, you're going to go through the process of working on your solution. The program that you created, you're now going to work that program. Hopefully in the background while we were waiting on IRS, you guys were already creating your program. Your program are things like, if you're going to do, again, we're going to stick with the unhoused. If you want to make certain that they have food, make sure they have clothing, make sure they have shelter. How are you going to do those things? You and your board by now should have already started engaging in the unhoused community. You and the board by now should have been making some community partners. because you may not have everything you need right now, but working with Atlanta Community Food Bank could be your food opportunity. So making sure those community partners are very key, and making sure that they're available and making sure they're passionate. Now that your nonprofit is approved, your next steps is making sure that the program that you sent to IRS, that you're working that program. Hopefully by now you guys have already created the descriptions, your summary, your community outreach, as well as your community partners, so you can serve. And we're going to stick with the unhoused because it's a lot simpler. Your plan, the business plan you wrote out, now it's time to work it. We wrote it out. We know what we want to do. Now we need to make sure that we solve the problem of the unhoused. If your organization is going to focus on food, as well as maybe some workforce development, we should have community partners by now. When you get those partners, that's when you network. You're going to network to make certain that they have everything that they need. By now, you should have a list of what you want to do, how soon you want to do it, and even event-wise. A lot of people think, I'm going to get a nonprofit and I'm going to go get some money. We got to do the work first. People has to see what you're doing. Your board has to make sure that it's getting visible. Your board has to talk to their community, their network. Pull in those resources so that you can help the unhoused, as we stated, with food as well as jobs. So once you get that nonprofit, again, the work has just begun. And what you're going to do is make sure that you're out in the community. So yes, we've gotten into the community. We've hosted some free events. You may have spent your own money or got some sponsorships or received some sponsorships from people around town. Now the key thing is, how do you obtain funding? How do you maintain funding? One of the main things is your budget. What do you need in order for your organization to be able to, again, feed the unhoused and create those workforces for them as well? So one of the main things with funding is your programming. Programming is key when you're trying to obtain funding. Programming can make or break you. Your board, again, can make or break you, because your board has a fiduciary responsibility to ensure that you guys are meeting your budget. Some people say, my first year, I don't know what my budget is. You're absolutely right. But that's where your market research comes into play. Writing out a wish list, that is very important. Your wish list could be, let's see, for unhoused, it's food. Partnering with Atlanta Community Food Bank, maybe Hosea Feed the Homeless, maybe Kroger, a grocery store, anything. You have to write those wish lists out in order to create an actual budget. Once you get that budget, you got to have a funding plan. How am I going to get the money or the merchandise received? Because a lot of people want money, but it's power in-kind donations. We'll speak about that later as well. Those in-kind donations help you be able to sustain your nonprofit when funding isn't coming in. So you want to ensure that you have everything together. You want to make sure that your budget is together. Even first year nonprofits, you can get your budget together. You're going to do market research on the things that you need. You're going to write out your wish list. You're going to write out your operating expenses. You may not have your own building. That may be in the plan, and we can discuss that later. But you're going to write out everything that you need so that you can know how much money you need to go ask for. You're going to create that ask. Creating fundraising events help you with that ask. Letting them know what the call to action is. Learning who are the waymakers, who are the people you need to stay away from, because we do have some outright grant people, and they can write grants, but you just have to be really careful with that. Creating that funding plan is very important. Once you get that together, once you get your wish list together, you're able to go out and do more outreach.